The whispers started long ago, echoing through the corridors of time, speaking of beings that once stood as sentinels between the divine and the mortal. Theirs is a story etched not in triumph but in a profound and unsettling fall, a descent fueled not by malice but by a yearning that defied the very fabric of their existence. Forget the fiery rebellion of Lucifer, the grand cosmic battle between good and evil. This is a more intimate, more human tragedy, the story of the Watchers. They were the sky's first guardians, positioned at the crossroads of heaven and earth, not merely to observe, but to safeguard. They were neither men nor gods, but something altogether different, ethereal beings caught between two worlds. Heaven designated them Watchers, and for a time they shone with celestial glory. But glory, as history often reveals, is a precarious gift. Gazing down from their celestial perch, they beheld something they were never intended to desire, igniting a chain of events that would forever alter the destiny of humankind. The moment they transgressed the invisible boundary separating duty from temptation, history shattered into fragments. They bestowed forbidden knowledge upon humanity, fathered monstrous abominations, and ignited a flame in the world so fierce that even the heavens were compelled to extinguish it with a cataclysmic flood. But the deluge was not solely a cleansing of wickedness. It was also a desperate attempt to silence the Watchers, to erase their transgression from the annals of creation. This is not a tale of Satan's pride or the machinations of demons. This is a chronicle of angels who succumbed to longing, a desire that transformed them into something far more tragic and terrifying. Welcome to Bible Mysteries, where we unearth the secrets the world has labored to forget, where we delve into the shadows of Scripture to expose the truths that lie buried beneath layers of dogma and misinterpretation. Prepare to challenge your assumptions, question your beliefs, and confront the unsettling reality of what truly lies hidden within the ancient texts. Before we proceed, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap the notification bell. By doing so, you ensure that you never miss an episode as we continue to excavate the forgotten narratives and unveil the mysteries that have shaped our world. Once they held positions of honor in the celestial courts, not as warriors brandishing swords, but as Watchers set apart and appointed to observe humanity. Theirs was a silent vigil, a quiet witness to the unfolding story of Earth, their divine assignment devoid of battles or conquests. The Bible alludes to them in a cryptic passage in Genesis 6. The sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful. Behind that seemingly simple verse lies a cosmic scandal of such magnitude that it shook the very foundations of heaven and triggered a divine judgment that obliterated nearly all of creation. So who were these enigmatic beings, these sons of God, the Book of Enoch? An ancient Jewish text excluded from the modern Bible but deeply revered by early Christian thinkers identifies them as Watchers. In Hebrew, they are known as Urim, the ones who watch, the ones who see. They were indeed angels, but unlike the benevolent messengers celebrated during Christmas, these were sentinels, overseers, guardians stationed on earth, tasked with observing humankind as it grew faltered and sought communion with the divine. However, as generations unfolded, the Watchers began to engage in activities that were never sanctioned by heaven. They developed a profound sense of empathy, not merely as detached protectors, but as beings capable of experiencing longing, curiosity, and attachment. They observed humanity learn construct struggle and love. And in time, that protective affection morphed into something far more dangerous: desire. They no longer wished to simply observe the beauty of humanity. They yearned to partake in it, to touch it, to become an integral part of it. And with that fateful decision to cross the forbidden line between heaven and earth, the rebellion commenced. Envision this: beings who had basked in the radiant light of God, himself beings who possessed immortality and celestial power, willingly trading their eternal existence for the fleeting pleasures of the flesh, exchanging their wings for clandestine whispers in the darkness. Why would they make such a choice? Because the longing to love and be loved, even by something as ephemeral and fragile as a human, proved to be more potent than even the commands of heaven. What does this tell us about the Watchers themselves? And perhaps more importantly, what does it reveal about us, the objects of their forbidden desire? Their names, once revered in celestial choirs, are now relegated to the dusty pages of forgotten texts. Samjaza, Azul, Armaros. 200 of them descended upon the earth, each one deliberately choosing to fall, not driven by rage or pride, like Lucifer, but by something perilously close to love. And in their hearts, perhaps, they genuinely believed they were acting nobly, that sharing divine knowledge would benefit humanity. However, heaven does not tolerate breaches of sacred covenants, and what the Watchers perceived as compassion, God interpreted as betrayal. This was not merely sin, it was a violation of a sacred trust. The guardians had become the corruptors. The offspring they conceived with human women were neither human nor angel. They were monstrous hybrids the Nephilim giants possessed of immense strength and insatiable appetites, rulers of war and violence. And once their feet touched the earth, the world would never be the same. This story originates not in malice, not in hatred, but in a longing that was never intended to be fulfilled. Perhaps the most tragic fall in all of Scripture is not that of Lucifer, but that of the Watchers, not cast down in anger, but in profound sorrow, forgotten, buried beneath the floodwaters, sealed in eternal chains until the end of days. Long before the advent of the cross, before the great flood, even before Adam took his first breath, there existed a divine order. Within that order, there were ranks celestial beings, created not only for worship, but also for specific functions. The Bible and other ancient writings speak of a celestial hierarchy, each order with its own purpose and responsibilities. Seraphim burn with endless praise, their voices echoing through the celestial realms in perpetual adoration of the divine. Cherubim guard the sacred, their wings spread wide in eternal vigilance, protecting the holiest of places from defilement. Archangels command armies leading legions of celestial warriors in the unending battle against the forces of darkness. And then there were the Watchers, distinct from the others, not warriors, not worshippers, not messengers, but something altogether different. Observers, sentinels, guardians, stationed between the eternal and the earthly. Their mandate was not to combat evil directly, but to bear witness to the unfolding narrative of mankind, to ensure that heaven's plan progressed according to the divine will, to report, to record, to guard. Yet their role was complex, requiring a delicate balance that is difficult for us to fully comprehend. They were involved, yet detached, close but forbidden from interfering. It was akin to standing before a roaring fire on the coldest night of eternity, yet being forbidden from extending your hands to feel its warmth. They were not created to feel, yet they learned to. They were not meant to intervene, yet they yearned to. And gradually, they lost sight of what they were originally tasked to guard. In the book of Enoch, their true identity is revealed. It states that 200 watchers were dispatched to earth not as fallen angels, not as beings cast out from heaven as punishment, but sent by God Himself. This was not a demotion or a sentence, it was an assignment. They were intended to assist in guiding the nascent world, to contribute to stabilizing the early days of creation, to help humanity find its way. But earth was vastly different from heaven. The air was heavier, time moved at a slower pace, and humanity possessed something that the watchers did not: freedom choice, emotion desire. And the more the watchers observed, the more their angelic nature began to change, to warp under the influence of the human world. Imagine being created for a singular purpose, only to begin questioning that purpose, to feel something stir within you that heaven never programmed into your soul, a longing that defies your very being. That is precisely what transpired with the Watchers. Simjaza, the leader of the Watchers, was the first to verbalize what the others dared not even contemplate, that he desired what he was watching, that they all did. And once that forbidden truth was spoken aloud, it was like a crack forming in a dam, an unstoppable force that could no longer be contained. They descended upon Mount Hermon, a gathering shrouded in secrecy and transgression. There they forged a pact, a covenant of rebellion against the divine order. One by one, they vowed to commit the unthinkable, to abandon their posts, to renounce their celestial duties, to take human wives, to cross the unbridgeable divide between the divine and the earthly. This was not a rebellion born of Lucifer's pride, nor was it a war instigated by Satan's malice. This was something fundamentally different, something more subtle, more tragic, more intrinsically human. It was the story of angels falling not out of hatred, but out of a twisted form of love. And yet, by succumbing to their desires, they shattered everything, unleashing consequences that would reverberate throughout eternity. Their presence on earth opened a portal that would never fully close, a gateway to darkness and corruption. Their union with human women resulted in the creation of the Nephilim, monstrous hybrid offspring, possessed of the strength of angels and the insatiable appetites of men. These giants would become tyrants, ruling through fear and violence, their reign marked by bloodshed and oppression. Their acquired knowledge would contaminate the hearts of humanity, leading them down paths of destruction and despair, and their very existence would ultimately necessitate one thing: a global flood. But here's a chilling thought to ponder. The Watchers were not eradicated. They were bound, chained in darkness, imprisoned until the day of judgment, their fate, a stark warning against defying the divine order. Jude 1:6 states explicitly, "And the angels who did not keep their positions of authority, but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains, for judgment on the great day." They are not gone. They are waiting, lurking somewhere beneath the surface of this world, shrouded in silence, their presence a constant reminder of their transgression. You see, heaven does not forget, but sometimes we do. And when we forget the true nature of the Watchers, we also forget what they represent, a stark reminder that even the most divine beings are susceptible to corruption when they begin to covet the desires of mortal men. What exactly did the Watchers teach mankind? When they descended from their celestial realm, they did not arrive bearing weapons or threats. They came bearing gifts, but these were gifts that humanity was never meant to receive: knowledge, that was far too dangerous for mortal hands. This is where their sin deepens, evolving from a mere act of disobedience into a deliberate act of corruption. They did not simply violate heaven's boundaries by taking human wives. They actively began to teach, to disseminate heavenly knowledge, secrets that were exclusively reserved for the divine. They imparted to humanity knowledge that accelerated our technological advancement, but also poisoned our souls in the process. The details are meticulously laid out in the Book of Enoch, an ancient text long disregarded by the mainstream church, yet still resonating with warnings that we are only beginning to comprehend in our modern age. Here's a glimpse into what they taught. Asel, one of the most infamous of the Watchers, instructed men in the art of crafting weapons, swords, knives, shields, and armor. Violence was not an inherent aspect of human nature. It was taught, cultivated, and perfected by a fallen angel. Simjaza, their leader, imparted knowledge of enchantments, root cutting, and sorcery. Not all spiritual knowledge is beneficial. Some unlocks doors that should remain forever sealed. Others shared the secrets of astrology, the significance of the stars, how to interpret omens, how to manipulate the weather, and even how to utilize makeup and jewelry for the purposes of seduction. The concepts of warfare, vanity, and manipulation through beauty were all seeded by the Watchers, corrupting the innocence of mankind. While this may sound like mere mythology when you consider the unprecedented and rapid advancement of civilization in ancient times, the leaps forward in metallurgy, mathematics, astronomy, and weaponry, it becomes increasingly plausible that this forbidden knowledge was not merely symbolic, but literal and deadly. The gifts bestowed by the Watchers served to undermine humanity's inherent innocence. Instead of directing our gaze upward toward the heavens, we began to focus inward and downward, consumed by earthly desires and ambitions. Instead of walking in communion with God, as Adam had done in the Garden of Eden, we constructed idols, built cities of pride, and erected altars of blood, all monuments to our own self-importance and defiance of the divine. And their monstrous offspring, the Nephilim, seized control of the world through brute force and intimidation. They were not merely giants in physical stature, they were giants in their insatiable appetites, consuming everything in their path. Legends recount that they devoured not only animals, but also mankind, their hunger knowing no bounds. A world that once echoed with the tranquility of Eden now groaned under the immense weight of bloodshed and conflagration. Genesis 6:11 states, "The earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence." And it was at that pivotal moment that heaven made its decisive judgment. The flood was not solely a punishment for human sin. When we reflect upon the flood in Noah's time, we often imagine it solely as a divine retribution for human wickedness. However, there exists another layer to the narrative, one that is seldom discussed openly. The flood was also a judgment upon the Watchers and their monstrous offspring. It was God's ultimate reset button, a cataclysmic event designed to cleanse a world tainted by forbidden knowledge and corrupted genetics. Enoch recounts that God dispatched the archangels Raphael, Uriel, Michael, and Gabriel to imprison the Watchers and destroy their monstrous children. The Nephilim would perish, their physical forms drowned beneath the rising waters, their presence erased from the pages of history. However, death would not be their end. Their spirits, twisted and disembodied, would transform into what we now refer to as evil spirits, demons the restless offspring of a forbidden union, forever seeking to torment and corrupt humanity. As for the watchers themselves, they were bound beneath the earth in utter darkness, confined to a prison of divine judgment, awaiting the day of their final reckoning. So contemplate this angels, once revered and holy, now buried alive in the dark, their light extinguished by their own transgressions. A world once beautiful and pristine, now submerged beneath waves of divine judgment, its landscape forever scarred by the consequences of their actions. A people once innocent and pure, now irrevocably altered by divine secrets that they were never meant to possess, all because those who were entrusted to watch over them chose to interfere, to succumb to their own desires, and to defy the will of heaven. Next, we will tackle one of the darkest and most perplexing questions of all. What became of the watchers after the flood? Were they all perpetually imprisoned, or do some still roam free, influencing our world from the shadows? The flood arrived like a primal scream emanating from the heavens, intended not only to cleanse the earth of sin, but also to conceal the evidence of the watchers' transgression, to bury their failure beneath layers of sediment and water. Their children, the Nephilim, were swallowed by the rising waters, their physical forms eradicated from history. However, death was not the end of their existence. Their spirits, twisted, half divine, half human, lingered on disembodied homeless, consumed by rage and resentment. They evolved into what we now recognize as demons, not fallen angels from the celestial realm, nor spirits from the depths of hell, but the restless progeny of a forbidden union, forever bound to the earthly realm, seeking to torment and corrupt humanity. And what of the watchers themselves, the architects of this cosmic tragedy, the ones who set the entire chain of events in motion? They were not killed. They were chained, bound by God's divine command, cast into the abyss, a place that the Bible refers to as Tartarus. In 2 Peter 2:4, for if God did not spare angels when they sinned but sent them to hell, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment. That particular verse serves as a direct reference to the watchers, confirming their fate and their confinement. Jude 1:6 echoes this sentiment, stating, "To the angels who did not stay within their own position of authority, but abandoned their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day." So, where are they now? They reside neither in heaven among the celestial beings, nor in hell among the damned. They are in a state of waiting, trapped beneath the very foundations of creation, confined within a prison, constructed not of physical bars or chains, but of divine judgment, a testament to the severity of their transgression. However, the question that no one dares to ask, the question that lingers in the shadows of doubt, is this: are all of them still confined to their subterranean prison? Because Scripture, in its enigmatic nature, remains vague on this particular point. It asserts that some were bound, but it does not explicitly state that all were imprisoned. In ancient traditions, ranging from the Book of Enoch to early Christian writings, a prevalent belief persists that a select few watchers managed to evade judgment, slipping through the cracks of divine justice. And if that is indeed the case, if even a single one of them still walks this earth, then their knowledge, their power, their influence could be shaping our world in ways that we cannot even begin to comprehend. And so, we arrive at a chilling possibility, one that trembles like a fault line beneath the foundation of our faith. If even one watcher escaped judgment If even one slipped from the grasp of the archangels during the upheaval of the flood, then the story we think is ancient may not be confined to history at all. It may be unfolding still. Consider this. Every era marked by sudden leaps in knowledge, technology power, and war has followed patterns eerily similar to the forbidden teachings once bestowed by the Watchers. Civilizations rise unnaturally fast. Empires consume the earth. Humanity becomes intoxicated with its own potential. And always there is violence. Always there is blood. Is it coincidence or influence? Scripture hints without answering. Ancient texts whisper but do not shout. The silence is deliberate, strategic, like a secret buried beneath layers of time waiting to be unearthed. And if that silence is not merely historical, but protective, imagine a being who once walked among stars, now walking in the shadows of our world, unseen, unnamed, guiding kings, shaping empires, manipulating nations, not with horns or fire, but with ideas, with knowledge, with whispers. If a Watcher still walks among us, then the battle shaping the destiny of our world did not begin on earth, and it did not end with the flood. It is still unfolding, right now, in the unseen. And the question that now hangs between heaven and earth is terrifyingly simple. What if the Watchers never truly left? And what if their return has already begun? So as we've explored today, the tale of the Watchers isn't just an ancient story of angels and giants. It's a profound reflection on temptation, the allure of forbidden knowledge, and the enduring struggle between divine order and human desire. It reminds us that even beings of immense power can be swayed by longing, and that the choices we make both individually and collectively have far-reaching consequences. It's a humbling reminder of the delicate balance we must maintain in our pursuit of knowledge and our relationship with the spiritual. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this intriguing mystery. What resonated with you the most? Do you have any lingering questions, or perhaps your own insights into the Watcher's story? Leave a comment below and let's continue the conversation. And if you found this exploration thought-provoking, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. We'll be diving into more fascinating Bible mysteries soon, and you won't want to miss what we uncover next. Thanks for joining us.